Hey y'all, Art student here. Today I'm going to be trying out some calligraphy. I decided to look through some old books that I had from college, and this one's actually from my mom from when she was in school. I used like a pen and ink for a class. I decided why not try to do some calligraphy. I always loved the different brush strokes and how you have to hold the pen a certain way, and typography is just really cool in general. So I thought I would practice and see what I could make. This page of my book inspired me to kind of have fun with the calligraphy and see what I could create with it. I absolutely love how like Gothic text looks, like this type of font style, and I wanted to practice. So I looked at the alphabet and tried my best. Here is me experimenting and trying to look at each shape, trying to figure out how I should move the tip of the marker, because if it's not in the right position, you won't get the right line thickness or the curve. And obviously it's not the same as a calligraphy, like pen and ink. I thought it'd be more fun with some prisma colors because of their vibrant color, and I feel like I'm way more experienced or just comfortable, I guess, with this type of marker. And it was really fun. It was also challenging. I'm definitely not someone who is good at calligraphy, but I really love the art of it, and it was fun to try it. So as you can see here, I'm using the very tip or the thinnest part of the marker to get those tiny, tiny lines for those little decorative details. And if you had an actual calligraphy pen, you'd be able to get it by twisting the pen a certain way, like moving it. And you have to definitely experiment and play with it. It's important to pay attention to the shapes that you see on the book or wherever you're looking for your reference, because sometimes you'll have to do a little line first. You press down hard for the thick parts and then ease up on the marker pressure to get those thinner lines. And with curves, you start at one side, go thicker where you want the thicker part of the curve, and then lighten up with the pressure. And it's all about playing, because that's the only way to learn. And it's really fun once you get the hang of it, even if you're bad at it like I am. When I was in college, our teacher actually made us find a stick and cut it down and create our own calligraphy pen out of a stick, and we used it in class to create really cool text. And I really liked that. The class kind of sucked, but we did do interesting stuff like that. And if you haven't noticed, a lot of the time I hesitate because I'm trying to think of the next move in the piece. Like, okay, this part needs a curve, and I have to make sure this curve is specifically in this right area and the right shape, and these little detail lines have to be in the right shape. So it's a lot of thinking if you're not naturally good at it and you haven't practiced it, but it's really fun once you get the hang of it, because a lot of the shapes are very similar and you use the same type of brush strokes and like marker tip placement. So you're like, okay, I remember this is kind of like a thin top with a thick rectangular line towards the bottom. Or the details are a thin line with these curves that kind of go opposite of each other. And it's just fun to play and add those little ornamental details, because it's just supposed to be like a fancy letter. I also love playing with Prisma because of the way that they layer on top of each other. Just in general, like alcohol markers, you have to draw one layer, and if you go on top, it creates another layer, so it's like a darker color. But having like the yellows or the blues on top of each other and the pinks, it's fun to see, and it's cool how the colors mix. And these are meant to be more of a blending marker, but I wasn't using it like this here. It was just cool to see the different colors that would come out once they were layered on top of each other. So the whole purpose of me practicing these different letters was to actually use them to make as hair for portraits. So I posed a few times and did quick sketches of my face with pencil, and then I tried my best creating the different shapes for each letter. This one's an S, and I actually messed up the little ornamental curve thing, but I do think because it's all swirly and everything was layered on top of each other, I'm already doing another letter, that it didn't really matter so much. So it was really fun to create. I think this one's actually a J, and I wanted this character to have kind of curly hair, and the little details where it has the little curves and swirls really added to that. And I like how it framed her face with each letter or symbol that I chose, because this is the and symbol. I just loved it. This one was actually my favorite girl that I did, or face that I did, and I would love to maybe create a t-shirt or some kind of graphic on the computer with it. I felt like the more shapes and layering and swirls that were added, the cooler the piece became, because it didn't really become letters as much. It became shapes and curves, and it created the hair without actually being hair. And I think that's a T that I'm making. I loved how each letter that I chose really framed the face pretty well. Here I'm lining the face with the little details in a neutral gray, so it still gave more of that pop, the contrast to the hair. The second face I'm going in with blue, and I wanted to do a side profile, so I thought that the hair should be on top. I think it would have been more successful if I had some coming off of the face a little bit in front of it, but it was still fun to play with and to choose different shapes, more of the rounder ones, to get that look for filling in a lot of the space with the letter, as well as getting a rounder, fun shape, almost like a mane. The last face is a front view, and I wanted the hair to kind of be all over in front of her face, kind of like she's just looking at you and the hair just slightly falls in front of her face. Kind of all over the place, curly, maybe played in the wind for a little bit, and this bright yellow color. We really have a lot of prismatics going on right here with this reddish pink, yellow, and blue. I thought that it would be a fun pop of color to have all three of these on here. I loved how the swirls of the letters really created curls in front of this character's face. I'm happy that I placed the faces close to each other, so when it came to the letters, the marker was able to pass in front of the other colors, so then you had that different color mixing in between. And here's our final outline. I don't think I did a great job with outlining this face. It does look like different people, which is kind of cool. It definitely brings the details out. So I guess that's what I wanted to accomplish, so I can't complain too much. And I decided the best option was to make a black background. I don't really mind that the marker isn't fully pure black for the background, like it has that see-throughness. It's kind of fun to have that texture added to the piece. So now that we're done, let's take a look at those close-up shots. Thank you so much for watching. I really love doing this piece. I definitely want to play with my markers more. If you like this stuff, check out my other things. Check out my Etsy. Like, comment, subscribe, all those things. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next week. I hope you have a great day. Thanks. Bye.